I like the flow. And good morning, everybody. This is Paul Romero with the SellAHouse Wholesale Real Estate Training number 80 on this new op day, February 9th, 2015. And I just want to say good morning to John. Hopefully he can stay here long enough to help us get this thing off the ground because he's got to run.
Yeah. Good morning, Paul. Happy new op day. I'm happy to be here on the Hangout for our SellAHouseArizona.com property noodlers on the 10th of February already. It's unbelievable that we're already a month in this year, and I'm sure the rest of the year is just going to fly right on by. And whenever I come to the realization about time and how quickly it moves, it just reminds me of how everything we need to do in life, all the important stuff. And I'm not talking about the stuff we have to do, because typically the stuff we think we have to do really isn't the important stuff in life. But it's time to realize that our time is extremely valuable. It's the #1 commodity we have. Time moves very quickly, and with all the stuff we have to do in life, we have to make time for the essentials, and we have to do it with a sense of urgency and get out there and begin to put together a plan of action to own our lives. And one of the ways that Paul and I can help you do that is to show you how to make some extra money by learning how to do some real estate deals and learn how to wholesale property, learn how to go out there and noodle your deal, make a little extra money. Hopefully, with what you can learn from Paul and I, can help you to eventually leave that job you hate so that you get up on new op day excited for the week. So I may have to dip out pretty quick here. I just wanted to be on here this morning, at least at the beginning, to say good morning to everybody and welcome Paul to the call. And I've got a little personal situation. And in fact, it's actually, this could be good content for today, Paul, unless you've already got something planned. But, you know, I had this event happen to me on Friday. Won't go into the details, but you know, it's something that was not completely my fault, and my initial reaction was to blame everybody else about this, what had happened here. I don't want to go into the details in the story, but at the end of the day, and I really contemplated and thought about it this weekend because what happened Friday affected my whole weekend. Did I do or did I not do something which caused this event to happen? And I came to the conclusion that although there are some valid points to be made about how it wasn't my fault, at the end of the day, when you look at the reality, if there is actually something I could have done in the past that I did not do that could have averted the entire situation. So guess what? The whole situation really is my own fault. And you know what? In realizing that, I feel a lot better about myself, and I feel that it got me thinking about sense of urgency, and it got me thinking about procrastination, and how those two things could be extremely detrimental to your success and to your growth and to just having balance in your life. And that's why I brought up the sense of urgency, talking about time and today's date and how we've already almost a month and a half through the year. And it's time to really take action in life and do the things that we need to do in order to have the time we want to have to do things. The things that we really want to do, not the things we have to do, the important things. And part of that sense of urgency is eliminating the word procrastination from your life and eliminating the definition of the word from your life. There's no sense in putting things off today. Things need to be done when they need to be done. And, you know, I spent the weekend contemplating these 2 points because of what happened Friday. And really, like I said, you come to realize that we're not victims. We actually create our own lives, whether we're conscious of how we're creating our lives or not. Everything comes into our life through the law of attraction, and we get what we put out. And if we put things off, it bites us in the ass. And I would say life doesn't just happen to you. You create the circumstances and situations that makes life happen. So you've got to realize that, get out of the victim mentality, and realize that the majority of things that happen in your life is because you put things in motion to create those situations. or maybe you didn't do something you should have, which puts a situation in motion. So good morning, Paul. That's kind of where my thinking was today, and I might have to dip off here pretty quick. So I'm just going to probably not hear, you won't have the grace to hear my voice for the rest of the call, but I'm sure you can handle it from there.
Well, I'm glad you want to say that. I'm glad you went ahead and said and fessed up to it being your fault, because that is such a key element. And I thank you for the content this morning, where exactly this call is going to go now, because this is all going to be about sort of the cost of inaction and how you you need to take control of your life, basically. I mean, you made a few key points there, John. I just want to point them out to you before you run here. You made mention of important versus urgent things that have to be done. You know, are you doing important things or are you doing urgent things? You made a comment towards procrastination, and you made the big one that I like here is that, you know, everything is not your fault. You know, everything is your fault. I'm going to go into that a little bit because in reality, this is not something you mentioned, but that's really how the masses are controlled. The powers that be are controlling all of us through disempowerment of leading us to believe that, you know, it's not our fault, when, you know what, everything that happens to you in your life is in fact your fault. All right, and the way that you become empowered is by gaining the knowledge to understand that you have the ability to control all that. Okay. And I want to get into something else that goes along with that, that I've come up with a couple of questions to ask yourself each and every day with what it is that you're doing. Am I seeking pleasure now, or am I willing to have pleasure later? And, you know, am I willing to basically suffer now, or will I put it off and suffer later? And what John just talked about, the procrastination, that falls into that, as far as if you put off, if you say, you know what, I'm going to seek the pleasure now, and I'll take the suffering later, your suffrage is going to multiply 10 to 100 times greater than if you choose to take it right now. That's just the way life works, okay? So anyway, John, thanks for the content. Thanks for being here this morning, and we'll let you go and, you know, handle
the situation I created for myself.
Handle your procrastination malfunction so that you can do what entrepreneurs do and get out there and go on a cruise, dude.
All right. Well, Paul, good luck today, and I will catch up with you later. Everybody, welcome to the Hangout, and I'm sure Paul's going to keep you enraptured with his content, which I'm sure is going to be amazing. So have a good one.
All right. See you, John. All right. So how does all this, what I just brought up, to have anything to do with real estate? Well, it's got everything to do with real estate, because real estate has nothing to do with real estate, especially wholesaling real estate. And I know you guys have probably heard that before, and you probably still doesn't sink into your head that, you know, wholesale real estate has nothing to do with real estate, okay? Absolutely nothing to do with real estate. Wholesale real estate is all about marketing and sales. And marketing and sales are all about you doing the right things and doing the important things versus the urgent things, doing the money-making things instead of doing the busy things. And we've kind of been on this little bit of a roll with this stuff in the past few days. And what we just talked about here, procrastination, you know, doing your habits, doing habits versus not doing habits. You know, and that's really what your habits are. You're either in a habit of doing something a certain way, whether it be good or bad, or profitable or non-profitable, or you're used to pretty much not doing things, either at all or not doing things in a certain way that makes them something, turns them into something that is, you know, profitable and leads to your success, opposed to something that just basically wastes your time. Now, we talked about the important stuff versus the urgent stuff. What's the difference there? Important is something that is going to lead you towards your success. That's something that is important. If it's something that you can do that's going to increase your earning power, increase your learning power, build upon your business, uh, propel you in the direction that you're going. These are all important things. Urgent things are the things that you think have to get done. This has to get done because if it doesn't get done by me, somebody else, somebody else isn't going to do it right. So the differentiation between the important things and the urgent things is a very key element for you to understand and determine where it is you need to spend your time doing and creating doing habits towards. Looking at your habits right now, where are you spending your time? What are you accustomed to doing? Where do you need to be as far as putting the time in to learning and growing in the areas that are important versus spending your time in the areas where you are doing or not doing things the right way. And it's all just about things that don't even really make a difference. That's the key part. These things probably don't even really make a difference. You have to look at your item, you have to look at your tasks and determine how much of a difference these things make. Is me, in the walk-in every night doing the inventory to count the chicken breasts and and all of that stuff, is that making me any money? Is that a task that is important for me? Now, it's an important task to the business as a whole. I get that. It's something that has to be done. But is it right now while you're doing it? Is it an important task or is it one of those urgent tasks? Because you got to get the order out for the morning so that the deliveries can be made by noon so that you can have, enough chicken breasts to make it through the evening. And why didn't somebody else do this for you? That's the key element right there. Why are you there after hours when everybody else is gone and you're doing this? Why wasn't somebody who was here that you've already paid, who this is probably you have, if you went out and pulled their job description of when you hired them, it's probably their duty. You probably gave it to them, but you're still doing it. You kind of get where I'm going there? You need to really build the systems that allow you to create those doing habits that take you out of the urgent and have to and all of those things that are just eating up your time and wasting all of your creative and your power to build and grow your own business. You get wallowed in that mire. So the thing that John was talking about now, procrastination, there's the next big obvious holdback as to will you even get started in something, or will you do the proper thing to take that next step forward? Will you procrastinate about determining what is the urgent items and what is the important items? Just procrastinating on something like that. Procrastination is a killer. It sucks the life out of human beings. It really, really does. And that procrastination leads me to where I was going with the whole idea of pleasure now and pleasure later, suffer now and suffer later. Whatever it is that you are jumping into, whatever your next task is, whatever your next experience is, whatever you're planning on doing, stop for a second. Ask yourself this question. What's the worst that could happen if I don't do this right now? And follow that up with, what's the worst that could happen if I do this right now? And the thing is, especially on things that you're a little unsure of, is it the right thing to do? Should I be doing this? Am I about to break the law? Whatever the case is, ask yourself that question. Whoa, stop. Hey, I'm about to do this. What's the worst thing that could happen if I don't do this? All right. If you don't do this, generally we're driven by our feelings and our environment and what's going on around us and who's around us and what we're influenced by and things like that. And generally you'll find if you ask what's the worst that could happen if I don't do this, you're going to find that it comes down to nothing more than a little bug flying through your face. It's going to come down to nothing more than your feelings are going to get hurt. Some way, somehow, embarrassment, shame, ridicule, whatever it is, some way, somehow, your feelings will be hurt. Oh my gosh, such a powerful, powerful, driving force. I don't want my feelings hurt. I don't want to, I've felt like that. That's happened to me before, and I felt like that before, and I don't ever want to feel like that again. So I'm going to do this right now so I don't have to feel that way. Because I don't want to feel that way anymore, ever again. Powerful. I mean, it may seem silly and stupid. I don't care about my feelings getting hurt. I'm a guy. My feelings don't get hurt, right? Wrong. You're driven by that power somewhere within you of your feelings being hurt in some way, shape, or form, which is driving you to do something that you probably shouldn't be doing. But if you ask yourself that question and you really understand what that driving force is that's compelling you to do this, then ask yourself, well, what's the worst that could happen if I don't, or if I do this right now? And if you do it right now, this is where now the action that you're taking is compelled by, the forces around you to actually have physical world implications come down upon you. And if you do this right now, you're going to see that a lot of bad things can probably happen. Now, if you do this little exercise and it's the opposite, and the bad things are on the other side, your feelings getting hurt, but all good things are going to happen, then hey, this is a thing that you want to do. But it all really comes down to the fact of, am I choosing pleasure now versus pleasure later? In other words, if I do this right now, is it providing me pleasure, instantaneous pleasure? And if I don't do this right now, will it in some way, shape, or form transmute itself into pleasure later? And if I do this right now, am I going to be suffering? If I do this right now, or if I don't do this right now, will I somehow be suffering? And that's through the emotional problem there. What will I be suffering if I don't do this right now? And if I do this right now, if I choose to do this right now, what sort of suffering am I avoiding? What's the worst that could happen? What sort of suffering am I avoiding? And determine now, project forward and say, okay, well, if I choose to take the pleasure now, what will I have to suffer later? If I choose to suffer now, what is the pleasure that I will be able to experience later? And you'll see, if you look forward, you'll see that choosing the pain now equals a hugely greater pleasure later, opposed to choosing the pleasure now, choosing the suffering now, or the pain now, produces a much greater pleasure later, whereas choosing the short-term pleasure, avoiding the suffering and pain right now, transmutes down the road into a much greater pain and suffering that you'll have to endure at a later time. We all get so caught up in, immediate gratification and the whole idea of, I want to be happy now. I want to be, have joy and experience pleasure, and I want all that right now. And we spend all of our efforts trying to achieve that very short-term gratification, which is in effect only postponing the pain and suffering that if you chose right now to say, you know what, I'd really love to go play golf, but I really got to get this spreadsheet done. So what's the worst that could happen? Well, if I don't get this spreadsheet done, what's the worst that could happen? Well, later on in the week, this, and this is going to happen, and it's going to be, it's going to take me, it's going to take me 3 hours to work this spreadsheet out right now, or later on in the week, it's probably going to take me 20 hours to figure out the chaos that's going to come from this spreadsheet not being completed. Do you see the correlation there? And then turning it around the other way and saying, okay, what's the worst that could happen if I do this right now? Well, I might have a little embarrassment, might have a little ridicule from my buddies for pulling out on going and playing golf. But next week, after this whole week plays out perfectly to plan, because I took the 3 hours now to put this spreadsheet together the right way that everybody's going to be able to understand it and make it work, well, then next weekend, well, they probably have something tied up. I'll be out there playing golf. And I'll be out there playing golf both on Saturday and Sunday when they can only afford to do it once. So, and who'll be laughing then? So, I mean, it's just along those lines, you know. If I'm willing to take a little bit of suffering right now to do something that has to be done, opposed to choosing the short-term pleasure over that, then what I gain the back end later down the road is going to be immensely more powerfully better than this short-term gratification, which that leads me right into everything being your fault. Everything is your fault because you have the decision, you have the choice to be able to make that decision. I'm sorry, you have the choice to be able to make that decision as to what you're going to do. Are you going to do the thing that gives you the little bit of gratification now and the suffering later? Or are you going to choose the thing that, you know, hey, I'm going to have to suffer through this right now, but it's going to be so much better later? And most of us tend to choose the immediate short-term gratification. And that is why all these bad things are happening later on. You caused it. It is your fault. And later on, when it happens, now you're looking at it going, why is this happening to me? I don't understand. How could this be going on? Well, you created it because you chose earlier to take your pleasure, opposed to suffering then and now being able to be going, man, I am so glad I did that and passed up that great opportunity or that great enjoyment or that great fun or whatever it was, that I passed up on that and I took care of that because now I'm so much freer. I have so much more time. I can do all these things now that if I hadn't done that then, I wouldn't be able to do now. That comes down to a great phrase that I love, which goes, if you are willing to, oh, I don't have it on my wall. If you are, I used to have it on my wall, but if you are willing to do now the things that most people won't, you will soon be able to do all the things most people can't. Think about that. That's huge. Okay. Do now, put yourself in a position to make the choice to do now what most people won't do. You get out there, you do what most people won't do right now, and very soon you'll be able to do all the things that most people can't do. That's big. That is really, really big. And it's true. It works. You have to give up. You have to choose pain and suffering now for the grander benefits later, opposed to what you're doing right now, which is choosing the short-term gratification, and which is creating your pain and suffrage later. And that's why I say everything is your fault. And the great thing about it, though, is that you have the power to change it. All you have to do is use this thing right up here, and you have every bit of power that it takes that you need to change that by making better decisions. I'll tell you what, as I said, how masses are controlled is by leading you to believe that it's not your fault. You become disempowered with the whole idea that, you know, I have no control over this. There's nothing that I can do about it. It's just the way it is. You know, oh, because, you know, I fell off my bicycle and bumped my head years ago. That's why I am who I am, and I can't do anything about that. There's nothing I can do to change things. I am where I am, and it's where I'm going, and that's all I can do. And that is bunk, because you have the power. You were born with it. You just have to find it and believe in it and recreate it. And what I am trying to do here right now for you today on this hangout is to empower you by giving you the sparking within you, that whatever it is that says, hey, he's right. I don't have to believe any of this crap. Who says it's my fault? Who says I can't do that? Who says that, just because this happened, I am who I am? Who says I can't change who I am? Who says I can't become a better person? Who says I can't do that? Nobody does. You are the person that says that. You are the one that allows yourself to be controlled by choosing to believe all those things. And all you have to do is make a conscious choice to say, you know what? I don't believe what I believe anymore. And I'm going to see if there's something better that I can believe in. And that's when you become empowered, when you are willing to learn and grow. You become empowered. You can empower yourself just by the simple desire to learn and grow. Become teachable. Listen to what other people are willing to give you. Be careful of who you listen to because there's a lot of bad information out there. In fact, it's said that pretty much 88% of what we have coming into this mind of ours through here and through here, I guess we get things coming in through smells, but 88% of everything that comes into our being is negative, bad, wrong, whatever you want to call it, but negative energy and information. So there's only a small percentage of stuff that's the good stuff out there. That's where this comes in. That's where you have to use your filter. This is a filter. This is where you filter out all the stupid, bad stuff, wrong stuff, all that stuff, and you make to determine what is good and right. That's where it comes down to. And that's how you become empowered, is by understanding the fact that, wow, I got to look at everything that I not only see and do from this step moving forward in the future immediately, and what I want to process in and keep, but also I got to reflect back upon all the stuff that's been stuffed in here already. And what am I believing? What is real? What is this stuff? Is just because, I heard that when I was a kid that, rich people are greedy, that I have to believe that rich people are greedy? Have I been believing that rich people are greedy? Wait a minute, I kind of have. And because I believe rich people are greedy, I come out here and I say I want money, but the fact that I say I want money, but I believe rich people are greedy, says that, well, I can't be rich because I don't want to be greedy. So therefore, even though I want money, I can't have money because then I'll be greedy. What? But do you see what I mean? Everything that is packed within our brains throughout our whole life, our way of thinking, our belief system, that's what this is all about. And our belief system gets taken away and our empowerment gets taken away by us coming to believe that it's not our fault. That because of all those things that have been put in here, that we can't do anything about that it's there. And that's just the way it is. But it's not just the way it has to be. There's another thing that I like. I don't know exactly how this one goes, but it says something along the lines of, you can't ever go back and change the past, but you can always start a new beginning. Wherever you are right now, you can choose right now today to start a new beginning by doing the things that most people won't, and end up with a different future than the one that you're headed for by one day being able to do what most people can't. Empower yourself. Open yourself up to learning and growing and determining within here what is negative and bad and wrong and what is good and right and positive. And when you choose to do that, that's where you will be going in the right direction. And that's where you'll say, hey, you know what? I think I want to flip a wholesale real estate deal and I want to do it the right way. And I'm going to send an email to propertynoodlers@gmail.com so that I can get myself on the track to making a few bucks, getting my head right, and and changing my life and turning my whole life around. So with that, everybody, oh universe, I ask not for more riches, but more wisdom with which to make better use of the riches given to me at birth. consisting of the power to control and direct my own mind to whatever end I desire. Everybody have a great day. We'll be back here on Wednesday, 8:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, USA. And we'll be back again on Friday, 8:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, USA, and the following Monday. So we do this every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 8:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, USA. Come in and join us. Today, you might be saying, hey, this is not a real estate hangout. BS. Like I said, one more time. Real estate has nothing to do, any real estate business. I don't care if you're a broker or an agent out there. You know what? It has nothing to do with real estate. It has nothing to do with property. Okay? That's not what your business is about. Your business is about up here. It's about your mindset. It's about sales and marketing. It's about doing things the right way and being successful. All right. See ya.